The agency in which I had volunteered at is Benito Juarez Elementary School. Juarez Elementary School is a public elementary school in San Diego, serving 385 students, grades K through 5th grade. Because it is a public school, it is funded by private property tax. I worked in the 3rd grade class. Um, the teacher of that class had her master's degree. However, I believe the principal of the school also had her master's degree. Also, some of the staff members, for an example, the gym teacher, she had her master's degree. Um, However, the lunch lady, the custodians, I believe they just had their high school diplomas. In the 3rd grade class that I volunteered in, we had one child that had dyslexia and another child that had autism. And my experience here at this site definitely helped me be able to identify some behaviors or characteristics associated with autism. In class, you learn about the characteristics and behaviors of autistic children, and firsthand I got a chance to experience that, and how autistic children perhaps like to play alone and not play with other people. They like to play with toys on their own. They like to play with things differently, and in a way that most people would call it weird. Um, is the one kid who was diagnosed with autism. We're going to call him Jeffrey. Jeffrey, he would play with his trucks, or he would play with a truck, but he wouldn't roll it on the wheels. He would flip it on his backside. He would spin the wheels with his hands. And while all the other children are playing with the cars and trucks regularly, he's by himself in the corner with the truck flipped upside down. He's playing with the wheels with his hands. And you could definitely see some autistic characteristics there. Also, during reading time, also during group reading time, he would like to wander off and leave the classroom, and I had to go run him down, track him down. And sometimes he would go in the corner and do his own little thing, and he would read books upside down and just play in a way that the other children were not playing, and engage in a way that the other children were not engaging themselves. He was always doing his own thing, and he was also on his own schedule. Um, the child that had dyslexia, we'll call him Jordan. He would write things backwards sometimes, and he also, one time he was tasked with writing the number 217, and he wrote the number 200, and then he wrote the number 17, and that's how he would do his math problems. So he'll write 20017. So it looks like it looked like 20,017. So, and that was one thing. That was one of the things that no matter how many times you told him, how to write 217, 217, he would still do it his way. And Jordan had dyslexia, and you can see some of the characteristics there. So my site actually offered me an opportunity to witness firsthand some of these disorders. I don't think that now I can fully distinguish between disorders. I don't think that I am completely trained enough for that. I'm nowhere near that. But my knowledge from school and my education from school, it did help me diffuse some situations with working with children and being able to communicate with children and understanding how they interpret things, how things may make sense to them. There was a time where we was doing independent reading, and I'm reading to some of the students, um, and everybody wanted me to read their book. We only got 15 minutes to read, and it was five students, and I can't read 5 books in 15 minutes. So I told them all that I read a page. Um, I read a page for each of the students. I try to read each page in 3 minutes. So I read a page for each of the students, and I was able to get them to understand, and I was able to communicate with the children how we're going to do it this way. That way, I get to read a piece from everybody's book, and everybody's included, and nobody is excluded. And that was something that I learned, in college, just how to communicate with children, how to reason with children. You don't always have to be authoritative for children to listen to you and follow you. You don't always have to be the big boss and beat your chest. There's numerous strategies and ways to get children to be obedient and to listen. And some of these strategies were new to me because growing up myself, I had a very authoritative parent. um, and she was very strict. And now I know that there's a border. You can be strict, also be lenient. You could be in the middle, and and I learned that in school, and I learned ways to be in the middle. And not only does it help me, not only did my experience help me with my education and with my knowledge of psychology, my experience also helped me, uh, and as far as what I'm saying, parenting, working with these children, talking to the children and stuff like that. It helps you understand how to communicate with children. I feel like a lot of adults don't understand how to communicate with children, and um, and that's why there's a lot of miscommunication, a lot of misunderstanding. There was this one child. She was black and Japanese, maybe a little bit of white, but she was definitely mixed with a lot of races. But Japanese and black stood out, and she knew that she was black and Japanese. And one of the things that she said, that was another child. I believe she was Japanese and white, but she was definitely more Japanese than anything. Nonetheless, the black and Japanese student said to the Japanese white student, "Shoot the ball, you Japanese girl." And it was kind of it was kind of shocking to hear that, but that's how children talk. They're very blunt, and a few of the students called me a bald man and stuff like that. Not that it hurt my feelings or anything, but it was just interesting to see human behavior on that level. So so working at this site has definitely showed me different levels of human behavior, different levels of human communication, and it's something that I never really explored as an adult. I remember when I was younger how blunt and open I was, but I never really reflected on it until I had the opportunity to work at this site. And this site has taught me a lot about professionalism and how to work with children in professional settings. Children, they like to run up on you and give you a hug, and they like to touch and all kind of things with you. But you have to remember, as an adult, there's ways that you conduct yourself around children, and you don't want to do something that can be misinterpreted. You know what I mean? You definitely don't want to catch a sexual harassment charge or nothing like that, especially not with a minor. So, you learn a lot about professionalism and how to hug and how to hug, give people side hugs. Don't pick people up even if they ask to be picked up. You know, um, there's a lot of little things like that that you have to be mindful of. You would never think about, but sometimes interaction between people can be misinterpreted, and perception is key. So that was one of the things that I learned about the site is how to be very professional in the school setting, and always watch what I'm doing and always being aware of what's happening around me. One day I do look forward to coming back to Benito Juarez Elementary School. However, I don't know if I'll be volunteering there again. I do. I have made a nice bond with the teacher and the students. Um, my last day volunteering, I came there with donuts, and then sometimes I come periodically, and and the whole classroom lights up when they see me. They say, "Mr. Taylor," and they all start running towards me, and the class gets so disruptive, and I have to apologize to the teacher that I'm sorry that the class got out of hand because I came here and I know that the class was nice and calm, and I came and now they are rowdy, but I just wanted to say hi. I was in the area. So I still go by and I still say hi to the students when I get a chance to. This volunteering opportunity didn't really change my career plans, but it has in some ways. It helped me understand how important psychology is, and how important and how serious it is, and how serious it is to take it serious, especially psychology, school psychology, counseling psychology. You got to be real serious. And so one of the things that volunteering has taught me is I really don't want to be working with elementary students. I would rather work with college students. I'd rather work with students in that kind of setting. I don't want to work in an elementary school setting because even though it was fun working there, the classroom is like a big nursery. It's like a big nursery, and 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 the teacher, she's the nanny for 8 hours a day, and I could just see how stressed or how draining it is. I admire all teachers, all elementary school teachers, because it's a draining task. I never looked at it that way, but even volunteering for 4 hours, at the end of the 4 hours, I was so tired and exhausted, and I'm like, but I really didn't do nothing but answer questions, grade papers, talk to students, and read the students and stuff like that. But it's just so demanding because they come to you with so many requests. And she hit me. Can I go to the bathroom? My shoe fell off. My leg hurt. I need to see the nurse. I'm hungry. It's just a whole bunch going on at one time, man. it's a very draining job, something that I do not want to do. As far as students enrolling in the course, um, I would strongly suggest that when you're offered the opportunity to choose a site, that you choose a site. You don't want to get stuck somewhere you don't want to be. And I did not take advantage of that. I let the teacher pick for me. But I was very fortunate enough to have a really good site, have a really good class, and have a really good teacher. And it was just at a good school. I played basketball with the students every day. When I went to work, we played basketball all the time. I had a blast. So I was very fortunate to um, to have a good site picked for me. But um, on my first day going to the site, I was like, dang man, I wish I could pick myself because I don't know if I want to be here. And sure enough, I wouldn't take it back for the world.